Hey there, YouTubers. This is Marshmallow. Today I'm going to do baked pork chops and dressing. First, I have to start off though by making some cornbread for the base of my dressing, because I do make a cornbread dressing. So we're starting out first. It's 1 cup of self-rising cornmeal in a bowl, 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, because that flour is all-purpose and has none in it. Just barely have enough. Okay. I like a little salt in it, dash of salt. Kind of give that a whisk with dry ingredients. Now, I'm going to add some milk. I don't have buttermilk, but this has buttermilk in that cornmeal mix, so this will make up for it. Besides, this is going to have to be broken up again after it's baked, and then seasons added to it on top of it, and then the pork chops baked with it. So, we're going to mix this up and make it just a plain cornbread base. I've got the oven preheated at 375 degrees. We're stirring this in to make it a real loose mix. You want to use a whisk, get all of those lumps out. And I'm going to add just about a tablespoon of corn oil, or this is canola oil. Stir all this together, and it'll look like a pancake mix when it's finally finished. Maybe a little bit thicker. So, there we have it. Just real thin. Not watery thin, but thicker than that, but like a good thick base. My dog's barking. Now, this will go into my preheated oven until it's baked, almost brown, because I don't have to have it really browned on top. We're not eating this as a bread. We're going to mix it up in a bigger bowl later on with other things, and we're going to make a dressing with it, and then rebake it again with pork chops. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's not, and it's worth it every bit. So we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll start on the second process. I'm waiting for my oven to come up to temperature, and while I'm doing that, I thought I'd go ahead and do some onions. A good onion chopped up is good in making your dressing, and it just adds and enhances the flavor. It just makes it more homey and more, I don't know, fulfilling, I guess. But I'm going to chop up some onions, and then I'm going to do some sage. I don't have any ground sage, but I have the leaf sage, and I am going to run it through. Want to run my leaf sage through a little small food processor I have here. And then also some breadcrumbs that I have in the refrigerator. I keep leftover bread for that. And then I am going, when it bakes and everything, it's all going to be incorporated into the dressing. So I'm going to start on my onions and get them chopped up. Okay, my oven's come up to 10. And I am going to put my cornbread into the oven. On this onion, I'm planning on sauteing just a little bit on the stove in a cooker here with a little bit of broth and maybe a little bit of butter added into it. It's not really needed right for that. I just need the infusion of the onion into the broth because that is what's going to be what flavors a lot of the dressing. So I'm getting into the saute pan, and then I'm going to put this on the stove, and I'll come back later when it's cooked and the cornbread is out, and then we'll start mixing up, and I'll be doing my breadcrumbs, and we'll look at it from there. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Hey there. I'm going to start with my breadcrumbs now. And I have a lot of bread pieces. I made rolls and I made a loaf of bread. And I had some stale bread that had left over from a loaf of bread here. And I always keep my pieces back to make breadcrumbs or other things, you know, just for filler and binding. Well, I'm going to mix it in. And I put in there about a tablespoon of the sage. It was leaf sage. Okay, it's really too fine to chop. So I am going to take, and I just put my sage in there, and I'm going to start with my breadcrumbs, and just go ahead and incorporate the sage with the breadcrumbs as I go. Now this is going to be loud, obnoxious, but they don't make too many blenders that aren't. You just kind of break it up kind of rough. Just put my blade in there. I've got it in there all the way. Oh, did a good job. Just really incorporated that. That sage is incorporated throughout those breadcrumbs. So I am going to do some more of the breadcrumbs here. Go ahead and make it up. And probably won't need the whole bunch here. But I'll be back when this is ready to add to the rest of the dressing, and I think you'll like it. Of course, YouTube loses a lot, and all of a sudden it couldn't save my last entry. This is the part where I made the dressing, and I put it in this iron kettle. On top is my pork chops. I took my cornbread out when it was not quite browned, but done. Mixed it with the breadcrumbs, an egg, about 2 cups of chicken broth, and squished it all together like you do a meatloaf, with the onions and all the juices that cooked from that, and packed it down. Then I laid my raw pork chops on top, and I coated them with my most favorite seasoning, which is soul food seasoning, and a little bit of salt. So this is going into an oven for 1 hour with a lid on it at 375. And then in about 15 minutes from the time I start that in there, I will have my potatoes ready to go into the oven. I want them baked as well, and all of it come out about the same time. So when I get the potatoes started, then we'll be back. And now I am going to stick this into the oven. Okay, I am going to work on some baked potatoes here. I'm waiting for my pork chops and dressing to bake in the oven. And this is the way I usually like my pork chops and dressing. You straighten up this just a little bit. It's going to slide off. Okay. I don't have very big baked potatoes, but they're fine for us. I just do 2 for each. And if there's any left over, I just use it back for potato salad or something later on. So I take each potato and I coat it with a little oil. Or if you've got bacon dripping, just do that. Just go over each potato with the oil. And this is canning or kosher salt, either one you want to use, because it's more coarse. I like the kosher salt if I've got it, but I put this on there, and I just really, really cover it because it keeps in the moisture, just fills it in. And like I said, if you've got bacon dripping, there's nothing better put on the skin of a baked potato. It seems like that flavor just bakes through it. And we'll do this, and in just a few minutes, when it comes time to, in about 15 minutes, I will put these in there on top of the iron kiln that I've got in there, baking my dressing in. And this way, everything would just be brewed about the same time. So we'll be getting back with you, and you'll get to see what it looks like when everything is done. Okay, it's been an hour, and I've got my pork chops and dressing done here. And I'll take this webcam loose and I'll show you. I'll look down into the big kettle. Ooh, it's hot. There is the baked pork chops and the dressing. They're tender, and I tasted of it earlier, and it is really, really good. So I hope you liked this. Sorry that part of it was missing on this video, but hey, it's like cooking. Every day we have mistakes. God bless you all. Hope you enjoy.